Hey guys, what's up? This is Brandon here again from Guardian Double Kitchens with Guardian Double Kennels. Today we're going to make a large breed meal for your dogs, a raw dog meal. Today this meal is called the cheesy goat and chicken mix for large breeds. So it consists of basic ingredients such as hard-boiled eggs, a couple strips of bacon, apples, potatoes, one raw chicken breast, one cooked chicken breast, cut up goat pieces, different pieces of goat meat, assorted pieces of goat meat, with the bone in, one package of brown gravy mix, some cooked corn, a couple cups of cheddar cheese, and a few cups of sour cream. First guys, what you want to do is get your eggs boiled, your potatoes softened, and your first chicken half cooked fully to the point where you can chop it up, cut it off the bone, and dice it into cubes. You want to leave the remainder of the ingredients, such as the apples, the other half of the chicken breast, and the goat meat, alone. And we'll move on to the next step. Let's go. In a large pot, boil one raw chicken breast in enough water to fully cover the chicken breast. And as always, at the end of boiling it, remove the chicken to keep the water so we can use the remainder of the water for a juice gravy stock to go over the dog's food at the very end. Alright guys, after you got your chicken all squared away cooking so that way you can dice them later, one of the first steps you want to do is to get your bacon over into a pan on high heat so you can sizzle it and brown it fully. Cook it fully so that way you can make sure you bring out the greases of the bacon so that way we can make a bacon gravy using a little bit of chicken stock and a package of brown gravy mix. And then after it's all done, you can put it off to the side and pour it over the dog's food at the end. So let's move on to the next step. Alright guys, now that the bacon is done, what we're going to do is, assuming that you already have your one chicken breast already cooked, take some of the hot water, cooled water, however you have it now, but the stock from the chicken, and what you want to do is pour that over into your skillet so we can make the gravy. Be careful as you pour. There. Give it a light stir. Mix in the bacon greases. Now, pour in your pack of brown gravy mix. There we go. Give it a stir. Allow this to thicken. If you want, you could break up the pieces of the bacon with the wooden spoon to make it even smaller, or you can just let them stay in whole pieces. Pretty much the whole point of this part is just to let this thicken, cool, and put this off to the side as a topper. We'll move on to the next step from here. Alright guys, our next step we're going to do here is we're going to get a couple of these pieces of goat meat and goat sections, get them over to your pan. We're going to sear them, just for flavor purposes. Just to add a little bit of cooked flavor in for the dogs. You know, they like to see you eating food. You know, sometimes they want to come up and eat your food and then see, this food's a little cooked, this food's a little different. So, just to be different, if you want to call it that, put a couple pieces of this food over into the pan and sear it. Let it cook for about maybe 3-4 minutes on each side. You're not trying to really make it done. What you're trying to do is just cook the outside just to brown it and soak up some of those flavors from that gravy we made earlier in the same pan, just to carry on some of the flavors into the food, mix in real well. So go ahead, get this taken care of, and we'll move on to the next step. Yeah, so you really doesn't take that long. Just let them keep on cooking on each side. Flip them. Make sure they all get an even brown. The dogs are necessary. After these are done, you're going to get those over to a plate. Just let them sit off to the side and cool. You don't want to chop these, you want to leave them whole. Once again, that's why this meal is for large breed dogs. Guys, these are nicely seared. You're going to remove them from the heat. Put them off to the side. Yep, got one there. Let those cool. They'll go in the food. Let's move on to the apples and chopping up the chicken and the potatoes. Alright guys, it's time to get the rest of this meal all put together so our dogs can eat here. So what you want to do is that leftover goat meat that we have, those goat sections with the bone in, and some with just, meaty sections. What you want to do is just go ahead and get that over into your mixing bowl so we can move on to cutting up the potatoes and the rest of the ingredients. Also guys, for these potatoes and the rest of the ingredients, what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to dice them and make them really small. I'm going to leave this meal kind of chunky. So everything, once again, is going to be chunky. So go ahead and start dicing your potatoes. Sorry about that. Leave them nice and cubed. You do them like this. Then maybe go in halves, like that. Maybe even quarters. That's what we'll do. We're going to do quarters, guys. All right. So I'm going to dice these up. Dice up a few of those apples in quarters. Put them into this bowl, and I'll be back to go into the next step with you guys. Alright guys, so I got the potato over into the mixing bowl. Next I'm going to move on to my apples. I got them sliced up into halves. Then I'm going to just dice them into smaller sections. After you dice them into smaller sections, go ahead and get those over into a bowl along with your potatoes, and then we'll mix in the rest of the ingredients and chop up those eggs and get this meal ready. Alright guys, so I went ahead and removed the chicken breast from the bone. What I'm going to do after I removed it is I went ahead and diced it into small sections, chunk-like sections like so. Don't dice it too small. Make sure you leave it in a chunkier section so that way your dog can enjoy a chunkier meal. Alright, so just go ahead and dice up the rest of your chicken. Then I'm just going to go ahead and move this over to the bowl. The rest of our apples, potatoes, and our raw goat meat. Let me dice up the rest of the chicken, and I'll be back to put in the rest of the ingredients, guys. Alright, so on to the next step, the chicken breast. So cooked chicken breast. Be sure to remove every single piece of the bone out of the cooked chicken breast. It's not really good to feed your dog cooked chicken bones in general. They must be raw and meaty. Never cooked chicken bones. So yeah, go ahead and just chunk up this cooked chicken breast into pieces, and we'll get that over into the mixing bowl with everything else. Alright guys, let's do it. Okay guys, I finally got the chicken breast cut up, the cooked chicken breast, so onto the mixing bowl along with our other ingredients. And like so. Alright, and the very next step, what we're going to do is those seared goat pieces, goat section, goat meat with the bone in that we cooked earlier, go ahead and put that over in there. Yeah. Now we'll move on to the rest of our light ingredients. So that way we can get this whole meal mixed up and serve it. Alright guys, now that we got everything else ready to go ahead and put into the bowl, our mixing bowl, here we have our diced up, cubed up, chunked up eggs. We're going to go ahead and put those over there into the bowl. These are hard-boiled eggs. Get them all over into there. Yes, yes, yes. Alright. Our cheddar cheese, about 2 cups worth. Our cooked corn. Getting kind of full here on me. Alright guys, last ingredient, our sour cream. Get that over in there. Alright. That'll do. Alright guys, get your spoon out, go to town guys. Give this stuff a good mix. Make sure you mix everything together. Alright guys, give me a second to do this, and I'll be back with this in a bowl so we can put our bacon gravy over the top and serve this to our favorite friend. Alright guys, now that we got into a bowl, our last and final step is going to be to take our bacon gravy that we made earlier, which consists of a few strips of bacon, the chicken stock, and a package of brown gravy mix, all seared in the goat meat and the bacon grease. What we're going to do is just take that and drizzle it over the top, like so. Bacon and all. It's thickened now, so it'll be real good for your dogs. They're gonna love you for it. Yeah. Alright guys, presto. Here you go. Alright guys, so here you go. Here's the finished product. Here's how it's supposed to look. All gravied out, vegetabled out, fruited out, potatoed out, and definitely meated out and flavored out. Once again, this is the cheesy goat and chicken mix for large breed dogs. Thank you for watching Guardian Devil Kitchens with Guardian Devil Kennels.